When I ask my phone how many days until spring, I expect a simple answer. A single number. But it turns out, the first day of spring can be a bit of a moving target. Depending on who you ask, the answer can change by almost a full month. So, which one is the real start of spring? The truth involves a predictable calendar, a wobbly planet, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly which countdown you should be watching. If you've ever Googled how many days until spring, you need to know this. There are two different springs people are usually talking about. There's astronomical spring, the one your calendar probably marks, and then there's meteorological spring, the one weather forecasters use. And that difference matters more than you might think. Because if you're counting down to the feeling of winter finally letting go, one of these systems is designed for neat, tidy data, and the other is based on the literal tilt of our planet in space. They are not the same, and that's where all the confusion begins. Main discovery or core concept. Let's start with the one most of us think of as the official first day of spring, astronomical spring. This isn't just a day, it's a single, precise moment in time. It's the vernal equinox, the exact instant when the sun crosses the celestial equator, an imaginary line in the sky directly above Earth's equator. At this moment, the Earth's axis isn't tilted toward or away from the sun, which means day and night are nearly equal all around the world. The word equinox itself even comes from Latin for equal night. For example, in 2026, that moment happened on Friday, March 20th, at 1446 Universal Time. So if you were asking how many days until spring? On June 17, 2026, what you're really asking is how many days until the next astronomical spring. The next vernal equinox is on Saturday, March 20th, 2027. As of today, that's about 276 days away. That number is a reminder that spring isn't just a feeling we decided on. It's a precise astronomical event tied directly to Earth's position as it hurtles through space. It's a physical reality. But if that's the case, why do meteorologists, the very people who study weather and seasons, use a completely different date? To get that, you have to understand that while humans love simple patterns, our planet doesn't always cooperate. Deep dive analysis. The reason the start of spring feels so slippery is because seasons are just labels we put on top of a very real, but slightly messy, planetary dance. We all learn in school that the Earth's axis is tilted at about 23.5 degrees. As our planet orbits the sun, different parts of the globe lean into the sunlight, giving us our seasons. At the vernal equinox, the tilt is perfectly side on to the sun. Neither the northern nor southern hemisphere is leaning in more than the other. That's why spring in the northern hemisphere lines up with autumn in the southern hemisphere. They're experiencing the same astronomical event, just with opposite seasonal effects. So, why complicate things with meteorological spring? The answer is data. Weather scientists and climatologists need to compare seasons from one year to the next to spot trends. They need to be able to say, was this spring warmer than last spring? Or how does this year's rainfall compare to the 30-year average? This is where astronomical spring becomes a headache. Our planet doesn't orbit the sun in exactly 365 days. It takes about 365.24 days, and that extra quarter of a day is why we have leap years. Because of this, the exact moment of the equinox shifts by about 6 hours every year, which causes the date of astronomical spring to bounce around between March 19th, 20th, and 21st. For a climatologist, that's just messy. A season that can be 90 days long one year and 93 the next is hard to compare. So, they created a cleaner system. Meteorological spring in the northern hemisphere always starts on March 1st and ends on May 31st. Winter is December, January, February. Summer is June, July, August. And fall is September, October, November. The seasons are fixed into neat, 3-month blocks that are identical every single year. It's less romantic, sure. It's not tied to a beautiful celestial event but to statistical convenience. But in many ways, it's also more in tune with the gradual temperature changes we actually experience. That's the deceptive simplicity of asking about spring. Are you asking about the planet's position, or are you asking about the weather? Real world or human impact. Let's be honest, for most of us, spring matters less as an astronomical calculation and more as a deep, psychological reset button. It's the season of longer days, of finally cracking open the windows, of that first wave of pollen that reminds you nature is waking up. It's the crack of a baseball bat and that sudden urge to clean out the entire garage. That shift is partly cultural, but it's also deeply biological. More sunlight affects our sleep cycles, our routines, and even how we perceive time. This is why, For many, neither March 1st nor March 20th feels quite right. The real spring is a feeling. It's the first day you can walk outside without a jacket and not immediately regret it. Spring doesn't arrive like flipping a switch, it leaks in. A single bud opens on a tree that looked dead yesterday. The air smells different, wetter, earthier. The sunlight lasts just a little longer after dinner. Then, one day, you look around and realize winter has been replaced, not by one big moment, but by 1,000 tiny ones. And that's where the countdown becomes more than just a number. It becomes a way to train your attention, to notice the quiet, gradual process of change before it's obvious to everyone. If you're enjoying this little trip down the rabbit hole of everyday science, do us a favor and hit that like button. And if you want more videos that turn simple questions into fascinating stories, be sure to subscribe. There are so many ordinary things hiding extraordinary science, and the start of spring is one of the best. Future implications or surprising angle, but here's where it gets even more complicated. Spring is a moving target in more ways than one. Even if the astronomical date stays roughly the same, the experience of spring is changing. Climate patterns are shifting. Phenology, the study of seasonal natural phenomena, shows us that in many parts of the world, the biological signs of spring are arriving earlier. Plants are blooming sooner. Insects are emerging earlier. Birds are migrating on different schedules. So even though the vernal equinox arrives with clockwork precision, the biological spring it's supposed to kick off can be out of sync. A countdown to spring is now, in a way, a countdown to a moving environmental benchmark. In some regions, spring feels warmer, arriving earlier and less predictably than it did just a few decades ago. In others, unseasonal cold snaps can still devastate early blooms, reminding us that a season is a transition, not a guarantee. And there's one more twist. It's not just about two definitions. Different cultures have used entirely different seasonal systems. Some ancient calendars, for example, mark the midpoint of the seasons, not their beginning. So what one person calls the start of spring, another might have called midwinter's end. So when you ask, how many days until spring? The only truly honest answer is, it depends. It depends on which spring you mean. The meteorological spring for record keeping? The astronomical spring tied to Earth's orbit? Or the feels like spring that first warm day that rewires your entire outlook on life? They're all real, and they all start on different days. What the viewer can do, takeaway. So, what can you do with this? If you want to turn this countdown into something meaningful, try tracking spring like a naturalist. Forget the calendar for a moment. Pick one thing. A tree on your street, a bench in a park, a patch of grass you see every day. Visit it once a week, starting now. Take the same photo each time. Pay attention. Notice the first tiny buds, the first bird that returns, the shift in the angle of the shadows, the temperature of the air, even the smell. When you do that, spring stops being some abstract concept that just arrives. You start to see it for what it is, a sequence of 1,000 beautiful, tiny changes. You begin to understand that a season isn't just a line on a calendar, it's a transformation happening in real time, right in front of you. But if you just want the numbers, here's your cheat sheet. For consistent, data-friendly planning, meteorological spring begins every March 1st in the Northern Hemisphere. For the precise, celestial event that officially tips our hemisphere toward the sun, you're looking for astronomical spring, which lands on or around March 19th to the 21st. That means the countdown is never just days until spring. It's days until a specific version of spring, the one that matters most to you. So, the next time you find yourself Googling that countdown, remember what you're really waiting for. You're not just waiting for a date. You're waiting for our entire planet to reach a specific point in its long journey around the sun. You're waiting for the axis of the Earth to tilt just right, for the sunlight to shift, and for the world around you to slowly, and then suddenly, wake up. And honestly, when you think about it that way, it makes the arrival of spring feel a little bigger, and a little more magical, than just a simple date on a calendar. What does spring mean to you? Is it the equinox, the 1st of March, or is it that first day you can finally leave your jacket at home? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this Countdown Meets Science deep dive, subscribe for more.